Okay, good evening. Welcome to today's training. So in today's lesson, we'll be looking at HTML colors. So you will notice in most of our designs that we'll be having, we've been using colors lately and without talking about them in details. So today's lesson, we'll be spending sometimes talking about color. So let's just put a props out here. Like let's do hello world, and let's preview this out. Okay, let's make it big. Okay, so what we want to achieve here is to talk about color, and you already know how color works, but I need to give more insight into it. So this is the body of the style. Let's just take it outside so that we can have a cleaner feel to it, and we can then talk about it in details. Yeah. So the way to add color to any text, or you can add color to text, to borders, to background. Those are the parts you can add colors to on HTML documents. This item you have here, it has a background, obviously. It has a font color, and you can actually have borders. So let's represent all those things that I've just mentioned now. Let's represent them. So we want to style our P. We want to make it have a border of one, let me say 4x, and solid. So it takes the width of the border, it takes the type of border, and it takes the color. So if you want to be specific, and that's the styling of the border, that's the way the syntax of the border works, you know, the width, the line style, and the color. So what I've done now is that I'll specify the width to be 4, and then that I want it to be solid, and then if I want color along with it, I say red. Notice there's no column, because if you put semicolon here, it means you've terminated the style to go to the next one. So the syntax is to have a space in between. 4px space solid space red. When we go to CSS proper, you will get to know the options available. You can also do dashed. Yeah, so later you get to see all the options available. What we're trying to do here is to show you color, how color is how you come about the color usage and things like that. So by default, the color recognized on HTML, we have different color scheme or color variants. By default, you can have color by name. What does that mean? So it means all your color will be referenced by their name in English, what they are normally called. You have the tomato, you have orange, you have several colors. If you know their name, you can have them show there. You have violet, you have light gray. So once you know the name of the color, you are good to go. The color will show. But when you get into design, you will notice that you will get to some point whereby you can't use name to reference those colors that you want. You might want a particular shade of an item. You might want a particular shade of an item that you might not be able to replicate, and that's what this particular thing allows you to do. You specify coding your color yourself. That's what it allows you to do. So for example, now these are the color names of some of the colors available, known colors. There are this blue violet, there's brown, there's big, there's they have several names. So but you might not know all those English names. They have like 140 names. So we'll have a reference in the video description below, you'll be able to see all the names of colors available. But that's not really the point of all this. The point of all this is to know how can you generate your own color. Now it's very easy with editor. That's why we didn't even go into down selecting colors in the first place, explaining color before now. The editor actually does a very good job in giving you various colors, but you need to know the history behind it, and hence we are taking that today. Apart from using names, there's what we call RGB, or rather, RGB. So RGB is, I think, is used in the printing industry, which denotes red, green, and blue. So you talk about how many red, should be here, how many green should come here, and how many blue you should have here. And this is denoted by 1 to 25, or rather 0 to 25, 256 rather, 0 to 256, 256 being the highest number of color or color that you can have, or rather value that you can have. Once you specify this to the highest, you have white. So when you mix red plus green plus blue, you have white. So let me show you that again here. So if I have this disabled, so that we can see. So we have this increase to the highest maximum. We have red, we have green. This is theory, by the way. You don't need to cram all this. I'm just trying to explain how these guys came to be. And then you have blue. So to turn off any color, you set it to 0. So if you want to turn off red, you set it to 0. So when you mix green and blue, what do you have? You have this color here. So that's what you have here. I think this is 255, not 256. So you have this color. So when you mix red and green, 255, and you turn off this one, you have this color here. So when you have red and blue, 255, and you have this one 0, you have this color. So this one here is white, as in you are using all red. You turn up all red, and this one means all blue. So when you mix red and blue, I think that's violet or thereabouts. So that's the color you have. So in between, there are shades of red that you can have. So let me tell you what I mean by shade of red. So let me turn off all this, and we should be expecting to have red. So meaning you turn off green and blue, you should have red. So meaning from 1 to 255, you can set option. So it means you can have 100 like that. You can have 200. The color will keep changing continuously. So let me skip, let me say 30. So this 30 color 30, that's red turn to 30. Let's turn the red to 60. We're not seeing any difference now, but we'll keep turning it up until we see difference. So I'm going to zoom it so that we can see that it's different from the black here. So we can see that it's changing color. So let's turn it to 100. It will keep changing like that until we have red. So you can see that it's changing gradually. So if we have 50, it keeps changing. So let's do 200 until we have 255, which will now be plain red. So you can do something like that to continuously on all the other colors. You can do this one being green. So if you have 255, you have green. So if you do 100, you have mid green or so. So that's what you have. It's like Nigerian flag green. So imagine you mix 100 of these with, let's say, 95 of this. You have variant color. Do you see what you have there? And let's mix this with 70. So you are getting something interesting. So you can say 170. And hence, that's how these numbers come to be. So these numbers are not just there for nothing. They are there to represent these colors that you have. It means 95 of red, 100 of green, and 180 of blue. So that's RGB. this one way to do color. And by the way, remember this one here, the IDE allows you to do this. So you can see as we're moving around, the numbers are changing. So if I come here, the numbers are changing. The numbers are changing. So for you to now have transparency, because it's possible that you want this and you want the transparency to be added to it. So that's RGBA. The A stands for the alpha. A stands for alpha, to create a kind of transparency in the color that you have. So let's use background so that we can have a very good feel of the color. So whatever you do applies to everything here. So let's do black. So let's do color white. Doesn't matter. So you can see we are mixing the type of color reference that we're using in our work. You know, we are mixing using the normal word. Yeah, that's when you know the color, you just type it there. You don't need to be coding color for black, since you know, you just type black instead of worrying about setting it to 000. So once you know the color you want to make use of, you can just type the color. But if you are being specific on what to use, you can just use this coding. Then you can come here to provide the RGBA. Notice the A. The A stands for alpha, meaning this is red, green, blue, then how intense you want it, or how the transparency level that you want. One is for no transparency, but immediately you start reducing transparency, it starts changing. So if you stick to this now, you can see the transparency level is changing. The only way that you can know that transparency is working is to set the background of this document to something different. Let's set the background of everything to green. Background color. So you can see that the background is working because the background now is fading out. So if without background, look at what you have. Or rather, without the alpha, this is what you have. Then if you want to see what is in the background, let's use red because we are going through green. So if you make this background transparent a little bit, it should be reflecting some of the green inside the hello world box. So let's try it out. So if you try to fade out a little bit, so we should see, you can see that the red is trying to come in. So which is the effect you are trying to create based on the use case scenario of what you are working with. So that's what the alpha is for. So this is the RGB. Let's go to the next coloring scheme, which is we have hex. Hex is the most common one, most popular one that you will see out there, although it has fastly been replaced by RGB. So what is the hex all about? Hex is an hexadecimal color, scheme, which is specified by using let me use this one, using hash sign and then following by a number system. That's RR, that's red, GG, and BB. Now instead of using 255, we now convert this 255 to hexadecimal. So if you convert this number to hex, you will have FF. So this 255 convert to hex is FF. So convert this one as well, you have FF. Convert the last one, you have FF. So you have 6 digits there. The first 2 is red, the next two that follow is green, the last one is blue. So if I should run this, we have a background of white. That's what this talks about. So let's try and set this one, then put the semicolon. So you have a background of white. So let's do color of let's say red. Okay, so you have a background of white. So the same thing, how do you turn off these colors? Is by using, so you need to know your hexadecimal to be able to work with this. So to turn off this color, is 0 is same thing as 00. That's in both decimal and both hex is 00. So the same thing. So when you turn off this one, you are left with green and blue, and then you have this color here. So when you turn off green as well, you are left with blue. Then that's blue you have there. So the same thing also happens here. Use RGB. Notice that immediately you try to do alpha, I think it has added the last two parts. That's the transparency. Okay, I think but normally I don't normally use this one to get the transparency out. I rather use RGB because it's more is, how will I put it now, it's kind of fluid. It's easier to compute than having hexadecimal, because this one here is as I mentioned, is in hex. So this one is in numbers. It's easy to translate than working with 9A, for example. So if you are working with RGB, for example, you can easily manually put some digits here yourself, to depict what it is you want to achieve, than this one. You will then now need to say, what will 9F do? So you need to know your a hex very well to be able to achieve this part. So if you go down, I think it will 00, high, it should be FF. So if you go down, so that's what you have. So this one is more convenient. RGBA is more convenient than using the hex. The last one we have, go ahead please. Okay. Yes. Okay. Yes. To do a styling. Okay, so which one is which? Okay, so yeah. Okay, so we're moving on to CSS soon. After this class, the next class is CSS. So that will really trash a lot of issues that you're having. But let me just see if I can quickly answer it. So this is the element P we are dealing with. This element P is being styled by this section of code. Any element, I repeat, any element can have a border. Any element has a border. Any element has a background. Any element has a color if the text can appear. When you want to control the text of any element, you use the word color. So now that we are styling P, to control the text of the color of hello world, we use the word color. Now that we are styling P, to control the background, we use the word background. We are styling P, to control the border, we use border to control the color. It's as simple as that. So you need to know what are the things you need to style, how you can style them. So when we go into CSS proper, we'll break this down further. We'll break it down further. So that way you understand what it is. So if I should go and style, if I should go and have another P, for example, now, and say hi, you know that they have the same color, because I've already told the system the rule of the game. All P should be styled the same way. Irrespective of what's going on, all P should be styled the same way. That's what I've succeeded in doing with the code I have. But of course, you can separate how they should be styled by specifying the class for this separately. So when we get to CSS, we will see that. So let's just continue with the coloring scheme. So the last one that we have in the coloring scheme is HSL. That is it stands for hue, saturation, and light. So that's more of like designed this way. HSL. So all this, as I've said, you won't need to bother yourself about it, because once you just come to your code, you just pick your color and you move. The reason why I'm telling you about this is because when you see them somewhere, then you know, okay, It's just coloring, so it's nothing special. It's just once you see any color anywhere, and I'll show you how to pick any color on the website. Any color you see online, I'll show you how to pick it. Then you can use that color to do anything you want to do. I'll reference that before we leave. So we have HSL, which stands for hue, saturation, and lightness. So again, this is advanced. So hue is a degree of color wheel, from 0 to 360. That's the hue here, and you can do, again, we will say HSL. So since hue is from 0 to 360, we can pick any of the range, and let's put a value there. Let's say 0, and the saturation, what should be saturated here, let's say this one is in percentage. Saturation is a percentage. How saturated should it be? Let's say 100%. And how light should it be? Let's say 50%. These two are in percentage, while the other one is in just normal value. So that's the color. So let's use this as the background so that we can see it very well. Let's say color is black. Let's make this the background. So this is what we have. When we turn this up a notch, it's changing. Let's use this as the background. Yeah, that's the background. So as we turn this up a notch, you can see that we're having different color. It's coming out differently. So these are very useful for people that design graphics. So as you move around, you can see the percentages are changing, and notice that the 70 is in place because of the color scheme that you've picked. So once it changes color, once it changes to another color within that is not within that color spectrum, now we're having something like a more darker value. So it changes. So let's move around. You can see the color variant. The same thing, it also has what we call transparency as well. That's where the alpha comes to play. Alpha. So again, this part, this guy can help you out with this. Your editor can help you out to get a very nice color here once you know what you are dealing with. Most of the time, since you are still learning how to design, you will pick your colors online, and once you pick your colors online, it will be very easy for you to get the precise color you are looking for. So let me show you how you can pick any color on the internet. So let's go to Google. So we once designed Google logo. Let's pick the one that has different color. Okay, let's do Google logo. I want to see the color I use. Okay, so let's see. In fact, since we used LinkedIn that time, let's use LinkedIn. So we want to look at what is responsible for this color that they use. That's the idea. So you can actually go to the website. So I'm looking for a website to visit. Okay, let's go to the official website. That one is having a black logo. I want to make sure I'm picking, but you know what I'm about to do now? I'm about to pick this color here, this other color. So I want to show you how to pick any color on the internet. So the first thing is to come to inspect elements. So what inspect elements does is that it shows you the code to everything you're seeing on the system. And we are going to be using inspect elements very well when we are talking about CSS, when we enter CSS. So you're going to see HTML, the body, how the whole thing is constructed. That's what this is going to tell you. It's going to show you. That's the word inspect elements. On the right hand side, you then see the CSS that was responsible for that. How did we get to this? If you click here now, you will see the CSS style that was applied to that page that you're looking at. Yeah. So if you then want to get any color, you can just come here and hack your way into it, because I want to access a kind of feature that will give me the ability to do a picker. I want to do a color picker so that I can pick any color on the website. Even this face, I can pick the color. So I'll just do background, and I will just do red. Just pick any color. Then I can then use my hand to pick this, and then use this picker here. Once I pick it, it's available for me to use on the website. So any part I touch, it will translate that color to me. So we are concerned about the logo. So we can scroll to the top and pick the logo. You can scroll to the top, do a color picker. Then you can see the color of the logo. This is the color of the logo. If I click now, the color then becomes available to me here. This is the color of the logo. So I can pick the color here. Yeah, okay. I can pick the color here. I copy. You can see that the color is in hex. So most of the time you will deal with color in hex, but you can have alternative to choose the form in which you want to see your color. So you see the reason why I showed you all those things I showed you, so that you will not be surprised when you are seeing RGB used. You can see alpha is 1, meaning there's no what's it called now, no alpha specified. 1 is like the top, the highest. So you can see this using AHSL, this is using H, in fact this one is different, HWB, and this is using X. So if you go to your coding, you can actually make use of the color here. Let's just paste it here. This is your LinkedIn color. This is the color that LinkedIn use for their logo. So that way you can easily copy it and use it for other things. So you'll be doing something like this quite a lot. You will be picking colors, and because if you see a color online, you might like it and you want to use the exact color, you can easily go through that method to pick the color and reuse. There are other tools that will allow you, but this is like one of the easiest way to pick it. You just go to the code, type background, pick the color here, come to the color picker here, you select, and you can scroll to the website. Any color that you like, you just pick it and you make use of it. Let's pick the skin color. So if you pick the skin tone now, you copy it, you paste in your project, and it's available to use. So that's how you pick colors. Okay, do you have any question before we move on to the next thing? Okay, so that is what we have about colors. The next thing I want to show you now is to start preparing ourselves to design our own profile page, because we are going to and this will help you to be focused on one particular thing as opposed to just doing random designs. So this will help you. As I've said, I will also do the same. So what I'm going to take you to is template monster. So you can also put that down. Let me type it here. Template monster. So this is a very big and popular site that allows you to see templates available online. So we can just pick at random and do a design. So I'm going to say a profile page. So there are so many sites, so you can pick your own profile page. I'll show you ones that you can use, very easy to design, then you can follow through with your own. This is a landing page template. It's HTML5 template. Okay, so I think I've shown you guys this before, but I'm going to show you again. so that you can then search, and once you pick anyone, you let me know. I'll tell you if it's within the scope, so that you can go ahead and plan, towards delivering on it. So I just opened one now. So let's see a live demo of this. Let's have a lady version. Okay. This resume. So this person's profile page, the name, occupation, gender, and again, what profile page does is to tell you to talk about yourself. You're putting yourself on the web. Talk about your skills. So everything that you've learned. So we're gonna be talking. We've just rounding up HTML, and then the next thing we are taking next. Our next class is CSS. We also do Bootstrap. After CSS is Bootstrap. Then we are doing JavaScript. Then we are doing React. You get. Then your skills is supposed to showcase yourself out there. By the way, if you have other skills, you can put it, out there. This is just to show, oh, okay, I think I'm 75% comfortable with HTML, showcasing what it is that you can do. Then, this person put the education out there. So this is not bad, but there are better templates out there. I don't really like this one. I think there are better templates out there. This is also similar, but let me open it up. Here's another one. So what I will give you to do, one of your assignments is to get the template to use and send to me to approve. That will be your task. And once you have that approved, I will start showing you how you can start the process. You set it up and you start work on it. So this is another one. My name is Days. I'm a digital marketer and web developer. So all these things that's making this thing change now can be done with CSS, or JavaScript. We're going to see how to do all these things. So if you've chosen this one, for example, now, this will be your name, this will be your information, and I think she even put an audio stuff there, a video. She did a video. So whatever you want to go, whatever you want to do, you can just go all out. So this could be your own brand. However, you can change the color. If you don't like blue, whatever color you want to pick, you can pick it. So look at what she did here. HTML5, she talks about branding, app development. It doesn't have to be all of this. You can pick something, not even depending on what I've taught you. You can go on, even what I've not taught you, you can even put it there, or something that that is useful to web develop, like your cybersecurity features. Now you can put it there. It increases your portfolio, it boosts your portfolio. So this is what this person has designed. This is a template for this person. We've seen this one. We'll round up now, and then we'll talk about CSS a little bit. I'll take question, then we'll talk about CSS a little bit. So this is the last one I'm going to show you. So what this person did was to publicize their handles. So this kind of template is good for someone that has so many handles out there, that they are already, out on the internet already. They don't want, so this is like a central point. If you are looking for me, come to this place, then you see my original handles. So it's very good for people that have, so many social media handles. Then from their main sites, you can go through to the other sites. So you can see the way the whole thing is designed. All these things, we'll talk about it, how to do all these things. So that's why I said whatever template you decide to pick, you can look at it, I will vet it, then we'll go ahead and we'll develop it together. So don't forget Template Monster. You're going to see a lot of templates there that you can use. And you just look at the one that speaks to your own personality, that you think you like, then we'll move on from there. So do you have any question before we introduce CSS? By the way, we are not done with HTML. The reason why I don't want to go deep is because we'll be talking. You notice that we've been doing CSS a lot. We've been So at this point, I need to jump into CSS. That way, you can then be seeing some things, because we're doing a lot of CSS than HTML now. So I don't want to introduce some HTML without going into CSS. In some courses, they introduce them together. They call it HTML and CSS, but I've separated them. At this point, we don't need to bring CSS in. So when we bring CSS in, we'll now continue the later part of the HTML that we're not done with. So I still need to show you about some other elements and things like that. But before then, I need to talk about, we've been talking about CSS, and I don't want to hold it on for long again. So do you have any question before I introduce you? So it's just going to be an introduction to CSS. Okay, so CSS is cascading style sheets. I'm still going to do it proper, but before I start the proper thing, I'm going to be talking about one of the things I've not mentioned before now, and that is HTML head. I've been mentioning it, by the way. I've been talking about it, but we've not really spent more time on it. So this part, HTML header or HTML head. Now there's a lot that goes in here, and the last thing I mentioned, if you could remember, was that this is where the meta information about the website reside. This all the meta information, who designed the website, the icon of the website, so many things, the title, the styling, the scripts, documents referred on this site. This is where they are. That's what the head is all about, and we've not been talking about it because that's not the core. But now that we've learned a lot of HTML now, you've known some basic things, I think it's the right time for us to introduce the head. So the head part is, the title already. So the part that you are not aware of is that you can use it to bring in scripts into your document. Notice that, let's go live again, this introduction into CSS. But while introducing CSS, we need to talk about the head. So notice that in this head, let me put our title so that to make it complete. So in this head, we've been able to specify our title. In this head, that's where you specify your styling of your CSS. Now, there are 3 ways to bring in styling into your HTML document. 3 ways to bring in styling into your HTML document. The number 1 way is through style in the header, which is what I'm demonstrating now. I want to apply style now. So I do body, and I say font size is equal to 30 px. I've applied style to the body by using style tag, inserting it into the header of the HTML document. That is way 1. The method 2, I said way 1. So method 2 is by using style attributes. I also taught that as well before now. So I'm going to delete this one. You can see that it has gone back to the method. Style 2 is by using what? Style attributes. Style 1 is by using embedding a style element into the head. Style 2 is using style attributes, and this is called inline styling. You're styling it in line with the body. That's style 2. Style number 3 is the preferred style, but we'll be using it less for now since we are just introducing CSS. Style number 3 is through external means, meaning that the file will be available outside. See, style.css will be available outside, and we will now style it here as a document. You see what I just did now? This is CSS document called style, and you can see that it's actually obeying what we're doing, as in you understand this thing here. So you need to bring that document inside here. You need to bring it inside this. How do you bring it in? How do you bring it in? So you bring it in by using a link. So I'll show you that link now. So that link is also added to the style attributes. So the link is added to the style attribute. So it's added to the head part of the HTML. By the way, this is introduction. So you use ref, specify style sheet. Now you're bringing it you specify an attribute called rel, and then the value has to be style sheet. Then you have href to point to the document. Remember the name of the document is style.css. We created it just now. Immediately you do that, notice that our style is being implemented and it's doing what that's supposed to do. Let's go and do something here and say color red. Do you see that it's working? Our file is outside of our HTML document. So those are the three methods in which you apply style. If you enjoyed this video, kindly like, share, subscribe, and turn on the bell notification to encourage us to make more content like this. If you have any feedback for us, kindly drop it in the comment section below. See you in the next video. Thank you.